Hello, welcome everyone to this newest episode of iPad Only Show. We are the co-authors of the iPad Only book. My name is Michael Sliwinski.
And I'm Augusto Pinaud. So good morning, Michael. How are you today? Did you already finish all the updates that show in everybody's iPads and iPhones and Macs and everything else this morning?
Well, the cool thing was that apart from the general software update, so the iOS software update, the iOS 7 to iOS 7.03, I had to do it manually. But the rest of the things, the newest iWork apps, the newest iLife apps, everything else updated overnight when I was sleeping. So when I woke up and I had to write an article in Pages today in the morning, I hooked up my iPad and I saw the new Pages icon. And I clicked, it was the new Pages. So I was surprised. Everything just came automatically when I was sleeping. So it was really good because, as we know, just yesterday, Apple announced that all of the iWork and iLife apps are free and they are automatically updated to the newest versions, right?
Yep, it is. It was quite an event. It was, I will say, one of the best Apple events in many, 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 many years. I was impressed not only or where hardware they went, but how bold some decisions they were. Give Maverick for free, give iLife for free, give iWork for free. That was amazing. Making now the files between the iPad and the Mac universals. Those are massive technology improvements, and really that blow everybody out of the water.
Yeah, and they actually what they did is they actually totally changed the way the software is distributed, because right now the software is distributed with the new hardware and it's already there. So the coolest thing, from our point of view as a user, it was logical. I want to have the newest version of this thing because I have my iPad, I have my iPhone. I want to have the newest version of this thing. And I want to make sure that when I collaborate with someone, I want to make sure that they have the newest version so we can really collaborate on the same file and everything. So from our point of view, it was logical. From their point of view, having the legacy charging for software kind of thing, it wasn't. And think about it, I still charge for software, right? So I don't make Nozbe hardware. So, but the coolest thing was that our conversation during the event was, if we had the iWork, the Pages thing when we were writing our book, it would have been so much easier for us.
Well, that was one of the things that impressed me. I've been playing with the iWorks on the web for a little bit already, and since it came in beta sometime this summer, and it is impressive. And the fact that they make it available for everyone, even if they don't have an iCloud, even if they have never ever played with a Mac, I can send a link to somebody, they will click in there, access to the document, and then we can collaborate. That in combination with the fact that what I have tested so far work, it is impressive. It is. We wrote the iPad Only book. We tried Google Documents, Google Drive in the iPad, and
Oh man.
it was poor as the best. And we really wanted to have a collaboration thing like this. So I think that's going to change. Not only that, there is a lot of people who had, since we released the book, write to us and tell us, I really want to understand more about this, how you work with numbers, how you work with pages, and how you do the keynotes. But that are thinking about spending the $9 or the $30, you buy the three of them, and if it's worth it, and if they're going to use it long enough, and all that. And now with this, basically, Apple crushed that need on thinking about those $30. And basically, now you just go and use it. And that is really, really, really incredible. And the fact now that people will not need to buy extra applications, the fact that that file will be universal. There is no conversion between the iOS to the Mac to the web version. That is incredible. And that really make it interesting on the software side on what you are going to do. And not only that, it even makes, in a certain way, iOS devices as well as MacBooks and Macs in general, even more reasonable to get. Because if you go, I don't know if you noticed that that was a low hit when before they mentioned the Maverick price. The Maverick, for listeners who don't know, is the new iOS. And
No, the new
Apple
Mac
went
OS
really,
10. The new Mac OS 10.
the new iOS 10, right? And Apple went really bold and released it for free.
Right.
Okay, they went the same route they have been with the iOS because it has been proved to be incredible success. Give them an incredible adoption rate, and I don't know, confirm this to me. I believe having more people into the latest software also helps significantly developers. Confirm that to me because
That's
that will be my educated guess.
That's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. Because, for example, in Nozbe, we have iOS apps and we have Android app. So for the Android app, we have to test it with, with an Android version that is, 2 years old. But 30% of Android devices still run on it. So just think about it. People run on an OS from like 2 years ago, right? On the mobile OS. So and it's 2 years ago on a mobile OS, it's like light years, in a desktop computing. So in this sense, Apple jumped the bandwagon of continuous newest version to make sure that everyone is on the same page. So they even said it in the keynote that they are upgrading everyone. If you have Snow Leopard, if you have Leopard, I mean whatever you have, you can go to Mavericks directly for free. You don't have to go to Lion, to Mountain Lion, whatever. You can go just directly to Mavericks for free. So this is amazing. This is something really, really, really cool.
Well, and I think, and you just confirm what I always thought, and I know many people who is on even a Snow Leopard who had never upgrade because, well, they need to pay the 29 and they don't think they will use it and why they need it if this works fine. And I think bring them everybody up, it will be something really, really, really interesting. And that what is going to generate, I think, is more use of the devices. I mean, I believe if you bring everybody to the latest, everybody will start using more and more and more of the devices instead of less. So as bold as that move, I believe it was, I also think it's really a game changer because the problem now is, so I was discussing with a Windows friend, is he was upset about the cost of the new update for Windows 8.1. Okay. And I'm showing him on my Mac on the other side that I just got a much better system for free.
Yeah, exactly. So they're really disrupting the old paradigms of Microsoft and of Google's. And just one last thing on collaboration with, for example, the Google Drive. It's not like, just for everyone to understand, it's not like we because we love Apple, we hate Google or something like that. It's not like that. No. I have some questions about privacy policy about in Google's whatever, but I was using really Google Docs and spreadsheets on back in the day, and now Google Drive for a long time with other people doing Proactive Magazine, doing lots of things, and we really, both of us, Augusto and I, we really wanted it to work. It's not like we didn't want it to work. We really wanted it to work, and it sucked. And now, for example, we are doing the newest version of Nozbe. And for that, we decided to collaborate also in Google Docs because it was for us the obvious choice because everyone can access it and everything. But, for example, one of my developers created a table inside the document, a table, right, with some information. And I access it in my Google Drive app on my iPad. And it just shows the empty table. This item is not compatible with your device. So, come on. How do you want me to collaborate if this thing is not compatible with my device? And I cannot edit the table. I have no clue what the table says. I have to go to the Mac and check it on the Mac what the table actually, what's in the table. So I cannot really respond to his comments or whatever. So I'm sure, after today, as most of us have Macs in the company, and the ones who don't have Macs can access it via the web, we will be actually collaborating in Pages instead of Google Docs.
Well, and I think that was the thing that I at least was not expecting from Apple. The fact that they make that collaboration, if they will have made that collaboration available for every Mac, an iPad, an iPhones, and iPod Touch, I will have said, yeah, that's Apple. My surprise was when they said, and if I remember correctly, they said, for your friends who are stuck on a PC.
Exactly.
Okay? And that was exactly what was massive. The fact that if you even had a Mac that you love to work, but you need to go to a PC, you can now go iCloud and open iWork with all your documents there without even needed to bring the iPad with you to work. And that is really massive because you are basically saying you don't need anything else. And to my experience, I can do everything that I can do on Word in Pages. I don't need anything else. And it's too early for certain tests that I need to run into the new Pages platform. But I'm expecting that I will not need anything else. I'm actually looking forward to uninstall stuff from devices today because
Yeah.
if what I've seen will work as it should, then I will be able to do everything even online if I don't want to install the applications in the Mac.
Totally. And then, but so this is the software. But now let's talk about hardware. So let's talk about our newest iPad because this is the interesting part. So with all this interaction about software and how practical it will be and all this stuff, and for our iPad only way, it's even better because we will be able to do really good office work, compatible office work on the iPads. Now let's talk about the iPads and the iPad Air.
The iPad Air, and for the listeners, this episode, we usually had a talk, and this time we decided not to talk and record directly. So the iPad Air, let's clarify. There is one thing that, let me talk about what was not impressive for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The 10-hour battery.
Right.
And I mentioned that to you, and I texted you that when that happened. When the iPad came, 10 hours of battery sounds amazing.
Right.
And I'm not saying we need more battery. Let's clarify that. I'm just saying 3 years after, with everything technologically Apple has done with their laptops, 10 hours of battery, when you can get a MacBook Pro to do 9, it doesn't sound anymore like, wow, as it used. And I understand, continue being my full day. I really don't need, I would love to have 12 hours because then I will never again need to charge that thing until I get to bed. But that's a different issue. But the 10-hour battery that used to sound amazing, it doesn't do it anymore. But at the same time, I've been a big fan of my iPad mini. And I've been using my iPad mini since I got it daily. And it's my main machine and everything. And after I saw the announcement of the iPad Air, I admit that I'm considering for no other reason than weight.
Yes.
And
size.
As we said on the book, that I believe that technology, it's based on two things. What's the best computer you can get is based on two things: battery life and weight. Battery is not going to get more impressive right now. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Weight. That weight really make exactly what one of the reasons I picked the iPad mini over the big iPad is weight. The iPad mini is way lighter. I don't need to think about it. Being a pound and now gaining that little extra off the screen, it may be worth it for me to consider go back to a big screen and to big iPad. And that was totally unexpected for me. And for the people listeners who, well, but what is the difference? I always remember how brutal was the difference between the original iPad and the iPad 2.
Exactly.
The difference in weight was really nothing. I don't remember the numbers top of my head, but it was nothing. If you open our book, you will find it because I mentioned this exactly same thing. But it was those little, almost nothing weight that make the iPad from the iPad 1 to the iPad 2 a massive difference.
Right.
In this case, the weight difference is big. It is significant. So I'm curious to see how much really this weight is going to play a game changing role into how much you use the iPad.
Yeah, and for example, in the case of of myself, I'm getting one. I mean, without any question. But for me, there's no brainer. I always wanted the big one, the big screen. But my wife was asking the same question yesterday because I told her, baby, you are using the iPad Mini, and it's fine. But I think because you're reading so much, you would benefit a lot from the Retina display. Because for reading especially, I mean, it's not tiring on the it's sharper, sharper fonts and everything. I mean, bigger resolution and everything. So I said, you should get a Mini with Retina display. But then she saw the Air and she was like, yeah, but this doesn't look a lot bigger than the Mini, and then a lot, and then I saw the tweet from MG Sigler, the one of the also known as Paris Le Monde, on the internet. And this guy was there as press on the event, and he went to the hands-on area, and he tweeted that he was sure coming to the event that for him the iPad Mini with Retina display will be a no-brainer. But now he's not that sure because he was touching the Air, the iPad Air, and he's not that sure that the Mini actually is the choice because it's just a little bit bigger, but with a significantly bigger screen, and just a little bit heavier, but not all that much.
And that is the thing. And that is the thing. When I grab my iPad 2, that is what I had before I got my iPad Mini, and the iPad Mini, the difference is significant. Okay, the screen was plus or minus the same. I never complain about the size because for what I do, 90% of my day, the size will not really play. I spend my days mostly in text. So right. Having two more lines in it doesn't make really a huge difference. If I will spend on numbers, it will be different. But I don't. I open a couple of spreadsheets a week, so it doesn't make it for me. I read a lot in that, and the Retina display will do it. But at the time, my options were an iPad 2 or an iPad Mini, and the iPad Mini blows the iPad 2 out of the water, no discussion. The question now with the iPad Air is that continue being true? And Retina display is enough to blow now the iPad Mini out of the water. And as a fan of the iPad Mini, I really don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm really not sure if that's true anymore. And if I'm getting one, and I will get one, I'm waiting to do a hands-on before I buy one. Exactly. Because I'm not sure really if I can just make that decision based on specs. Because exactly. Based on specs, when the iPad 2 came, one of the big things, there was two things that was different from original iPad to iPad 2. It had the camera, okay, and the weight. The weight on the specs, okay, the actual weight didn't seem to play a difference. It was too little. But the weight on the actual device, it was massively significant. Mm-hmm. So this time, I cannot make a verdict if I will go to the iPad Air or I will stay on a Mini with Retina or nothing. I really don't know. I need to wait until I can go and spend some quality time playing. That probably means not the week of launch, but a week later. Exactly. Because I'm expecting that week is going to be insane. But there is one more thing I want to add to this discussion. Because it doesn't matter that Steve Jobs is there or not anymore. There continue being a lot of influence for what Steve Jobs thought and what Steve Jobs introduced to the market, and he did. And one of the things that he was famous for when he came back to Apple was get rid of everything and make a square product, okay?
Right.
Consumer product and professional product. And over time, consumer product has evolved to the Air, okay?
Right.
And on the MacBook side is a MacBook Air.
Right.
On the professional side is the MacBook Pro.
Yep.
And they released an incredible set of iPhones, okay, nothing ago, okay, with the iPhone 5S. And now they came here and show us the iPad Air. And it made me think, okay, if that means that in some months we are going to have the iPad Pro, and that iPad Pro is going to have the same movement sensor that the 5S has, plus the fingerprint sensor, the Touch ID, and they are going to start making the difference between the iPad for consumers and the iPad in the workplace, in the professional environment. Because everything indicates to me, okay, that that's exactly what they're doing. And in a month, we are going to see that happening. And I don't know, I'm really curious. I know I texted you about that, and you said, I'm not waiting, okay? That means we will record, if I'm right, we will record another show in which you are going to see what you are going to do with your iPad Air so you get your iPad Pro. But I'm curious to see what you think about that.
So I'm not sure, because the thing is that for me right now, I mean, I have no clue what they're going to do apart from Touch ID, which I really miss in this upgrade. So I really wanted to have Touch ID in the iPad, in the iPad Air now. I really wanted to have it because I'm going to have it in iPhone 5S. So it's going to annoy me, and I'm sure it's going to annoy me that with the iPad I will have to put a password or something, because I lock my devices. I mean, no doubt about it. I lock them. I know it's not very secure, but at least if somebody picks it up, it's not they cannot swipe and just go and enter my apps and my data right away. So for me, it's going to be annoying. But on the other hand, the iPad Air as it is, it's perfect. It's just perfect. It's light. It has 10-hour battery. It's what I need. It's smaller. It's perfect. So apart from Touch ID, it's perfect. It's very close to perfection. So now with the iPad Pro, are they going to go with a bigger screen? I don't know. I mean, why? Is there really demand for a bigger, maybe it is. But if they are going to go with a bigger screen or maybe bigger battery, which means it will be bulkier, and with the Touch ID and whatnot, it's not going to be such an incredible, proposition for me. It's like what I had with the laptops. Until I moved to the iPad, I was, and I'm still recording this on my MacBook Air, and although there were already coming MacBook Pros and MacBook Pros with Retina displays, I preferred the Air because it's lighter, because it has a longer battery. It's just because it's Air. Only now, right now, with the new iPad, with the new MacBook Pro with Haswell, the newest 13-inch, which is smaller, lighter, and 3.5 pounds. If I would be a MacBook type of person, not iPad only person as I am, I would go with the Pro, with the MacBook Pro. Only now. Up until now, I would stay with the MacBook Air. But right now, because the MacBook Air doesn't have the Retina display and the MacBook Pro does, I would go with the MacBook Pro because it's not that much heavier, and has all the peripherals and everything else. So in my case, that's why I'm not, I'm curious about the iPad Pro if it shows up, and we can speculate about the iPad Pro in the next show. But for me, I don't think I'm going to miss out on a lot, and I'm probably going to upgrade in a next upgrade cycle if already. If not later.
I promise to edit this piece of the video, and if my prediction goes right and that iPad Pro gets announced, I will promise to replay you this part of the video.
Exactly. That's what we're going to do. So anyway, Augusto, I think we have to wrap this up because it's going to be a very long show. And our listeners, thank you so much for listening and for tuning in. As you can see, we are very excited about the iPad event and about the new iPads, which are coming in just a week's time. So At that time, I will be in England, and I will be going to the Apple Store, just checking out, doing the hands-on, just as you, Augusto, and we'll exchange, our first impressions after our first hands-on session with the new devices. So let's
Yep.
until then.
Perfect. Thank you very much, and continue updating.
Thank you.